Good morning, everyone. So, if you observe, in the last class, we are trying to discuss one important concept here. So, that is string handling here. Getting the point. If you observe what we did in the yesterday class, we are having different types of constructor in the string class. The first one we created as a default constructor, and later what we are doing is the line number 28 we created some character array. We created character array. So what we are doing using this particular character array, we are passing into parameter of this particular constructor. So which constructor it is? It is a string constructor. And here, along with this particular character array constructor, we are having additional parameters. We are having additional parameters here. So if you observe, so basically this constructor is a overloaded constructor. This constructor is an overload constructor. Now, so this is the different parameters constructor, and you can observe this is the different parameters constructor. Getting the point. And here is expecting only one parameter, so that is character array. So where it is coming from the here the line number 28 we created one character array, and after that the particular character array we are passing as a parameter of this particular string constructor, right? And coming back to the line number 30, what we are doing here, so we are passing the same reference here, so which is we created earlier, and along with the same reference here, we are trying to pass additional parameter here. So what it contains the additional parameter, so basically this second parameter is expecting here, so from which index number we want to copy. Getting the point, because we are passing one array of elements here, so that is called character array, and the second parameter is expecting from the which index we want to copy the particular characters, and the third one here is expecting how many characters or how many elements we want to copy here. So that is I am specifying as a 3. So if you observe, loading this particular character array based on this particular restrictions, we are trying to create a one more string object, so that is called str2. So we'll try to focus on this particular str2 by printing this out here. Getting the point. And here you can expect here one more constructor here. The one more constructor is expecting as a string as a parameter. So this is a character as a parameter, and along with the character array is expecting two additional parameters. So the two additional parameters are expecting as a integer data type. But you can see, so we are passing string as a parameter. So this is a one more constructor. Getting the point. So carefully observe, these are the different types of constructor. And back to here, the line number 35. What we are doing is, we are creating one more array. So here it is a byte array we are creating. Getting the point. Byte array we are creating is, using this particular byte array, what I am doing is, I am passing the particular byte array as a parameter of this particular string constructor. Right. Now, so you can see we are passing the byte array as a parameter of, and we can see another two parameters we are passing here. Another two parameters. So we can expect here this information inside this particular, the last two sysouts here. Okay, let me run the simple example. I will show you how exactly each constructor is working. If I am going to run this particular example, so carefully observe here. Now, this is the default constructor. The default constructor, we don't have any information here. Getting the point. We don't have any information here. So this particular BCD coming from, this particular BCD is coming from, and let me print one more construction, one more sysout here. So if you observe here, I want to print ST. Here I want to print ST. So from the line number 32, we are going to identify each println statement here. So you can see the first one is coming from the 32 line number. So we are expecting all the characters which we passed as a character array. So where we passed here? So this is the constructor. The line number 29 we passed here. Okay. And if we observe another important here, this particular ST is coming from this line. Getting the point. Here, what we are doing here, this particular constructor we are passing as a character array, so that all the characters are appended as a string object here. The string object we are printing here, that is called ABCD. And we can observe the second constructor here, something called, so same, the character array we are passing, but the difference here, we are having some restrictions here. How we are making the particular restriction here? By specifying two additional parameters. Getting the point. And so this is the references. With some condition, we are creating one more string object here. So something called str2. And where we are printing this particular str2? The line number 36. So this is indicating this particular str2. So now observe carefully. Even though we are passing from the character array, but we are not getting the same object here. You can see initially we are having ABCD, and the second one we are getting BCD. So because of this particular restriction, and you can see the third constructor here, something called the line number 31. What we are doing here? So we are passing string as a one parameter. Right. The same we are getting here. So only the difference here, we are having different types of constructor here. So which is expecting string. Getting the point. And back to here, line number 35. What we are doing is we are creating one byte array. Whenever we are creating this particular byte array, so what happens internally? The line number 36 we are printing here. The line number 36 we are creating an object. So the reference here str4. We can see this is a str4. But observe carefully, we are creating the byte array, but we are getting some characters information here, something called string. So how we are getting this particular information? Because of this. So as I explained here, these are the ASCII values here. These are the ASCII values. So each ASCII value internally is pointing to the one of the character here. So these are the characters are pointing based on this particular ASCII value. So carefully observe, this is very important here. Right. Using this particular byte array, we are creating one string object here. And after that, the last constructor, we are having some restrictions here. So using this particular restriction, we are creating one more object here. So that is called BCD. So these are about the constructors, and we are going to call as a overloaded constructors. So in the string, we are having different types of constructors here. Okay, back to here. I'm going to clear the screen. So carefully observe here. We identified the constructor's information. You can observe the name of the constructor is same. Wherever we are using the constructor, any location the constructor is same, but only the difference here is expecting the parameters are different data types here. This is important. Okay, and we identified using these many constructors we are creating an object. After creating the constructors, now we are having different types of methods here. So we'll try to check with what exactly the different types of methods we are going to have. And the simple one here, if you observe, I'm creating one object here, st. Using this particular st, now what I'm going to do, we are having one method called length. So what exactly we are going to do here? Using this particular length, how many characters are available inside this particular string object we are going to identify. So carefully observe. Again, I am trying to print. So now, with the reference of string object, now I am using the length method. Length, it is a method here. Getting the point. So see carefully, the reference is important here. ST is coming from the line number 29. And here we are passing constructor array as a parameter. So we'll try to check here the ST dot length. How many characters we are going to get? So we are getting as a 4. So we can see only the characters also available 4. But indexes are different. So that is we already discussed in the last classes. Indexes are different. Every array is going to start from the 0. The indexes here. But length is having one more element because the length we are going to start from the 1. So that is the difference between index and the length here. Okay. So back to here, we identified whenever we want to check how many characters are stored in the particular string object, or we can check here using this particular length method. Right. And one important concept here, string literal here. So how exactly we can create an object using string literal. So if you observe, after line number 30, I'm going to create here. Here what I'm creating here. String S2 is equals to ABCD. So this is the one more object I'm creating here using this particular concept called string literal. So whenever we are using like this, what happens internally? The object is going to create here. Right. The same way we can access how we are accessing here the information resides in the particular string class. So back to here, the same thing I want to copy, and here str2 dot length. str2 dot length. So again, we are able to access here the length method. We'll try to check with str2 whether the same output we are going to get or not. You can see the same length we are going to get. So what is the difference between this particular information as this particular literal? Getting the point. Now, basically, whenever we are creating an object using this particular constructor or using this particular literal concept, so what happens internally? Inside the heap memory, again we are going to have another memory called string pool. Getting the point. So one more memory which is string pool is available in the heap memory. So whenever we are creating any object using either the constructor or using literal concept, the objects are going to be created inside the string pool. So what is the advantage we are going to get here? So the advantage here, first is going to check here, the same object already resides in the particular string pool or not. The same object is already created inside this particular string pool or not. So if not created, is going to create. If it's already created, what's happening here? The two objects are going to point to the same object here because the line number 29 we already created here. So ABC, right? Now again I'm trying to create one more object using this particular literal here. Getting the point. What happens here? First is going to check the same object is already created in the string pool. If yes, how many references we are going to create here? All the references are going to point to the same object only. So here, this particular ST and ST2 both are going to point to the same object here. But here, the difference between literal and new constructor internally, so it's going to create the same way which we have created earlier. It's going to use a new operator to create a string object here. Getting the point. But only the difference here, so this important concept called string pool. Right. So basically, Thing is a immutable object here. So once the object is created, we cannot change the object here. Getting the point? So how we cannot change the object? So I'm going to provide some information regarding this particular immutable. Observe here. Now what I am doing here? Basically, using this particular either the constructor or literal concept, we are creating an object here. If I'm going to call st2 dot concat something called, so I'm going to call the same method here. So this message, getting the point. After length, what I'm going to do, I'm going to print the str object. So what is an output we are expecting here? So if you observe ABCD with, we are going to get a concat here. So something called, let me write the output also here. So this we are going to get an expected output here. Let me run the same example. You can see, so these are the length methods printing, and this is the first length, this is the second length, and after length we are calling, so the line number 34 is out, but we are expecting ABCD concat, but we are not getting any ABCD concat. So what we are getting here? Only ABCD. So what happens here? The concat we are not able to find. Getting the point. So this is the call immutability. Once an object is created, we cannot change with the same reference here. Now what we are doing here? This same reference already available in the particular pool. Now whenever we are trying to update any existing object here, so that the existing object is not going to update here. To update here, what we need to do here? So now st3 is equals to concat 3 along with this particular st2, st3 I'm going to create here. st3. So observe, the references are very important here. Now you can observe here. The st3 is whatever we are expecting is getting or not. But here, what is the main reason here? Whenever we are trying to change any object information with the existing object reference, what we need to do here? So we need to create a new object here. Then only the changes will reflect in the particular new object. So whenever we are trying to use the existing reference, we are unable to find the newly updated information. So this is very important here. Getting the point. Now one more I want to share here. If you observe here, this particular str2 plus something, I'm adding test here. I'm adding test. So carefully observe here. After length, I'm adding one more string here, one more string here. So what we are going to expect is here ABCD plus test. Getting the point. How we are expecting is because we are adding one more test here. So if I am going to save here, so see here, we are getting whatever the information we are adding here. So this is different here. But here, with the reference of existing object, we are not calling any methods or we are not updating anything. But here, what we are doing here, just we are appending to the existing object here. So this concept is different and this concept is different. Getting the point. So this is very important here. The str2 concat is different here. str2 append is different here. So whenever we are doing like this, we are going to get an updated information with the existing reference here. But make sure when we are adding like this, we are not going to get any updated information for the existing object here. So this is all about the simple difference because of what here? String objects are immutable. Once object is created, we cannot change this particular object here. Okay. So back to here, we'll try to move on to the another object information here. Getting the point. Let me comment all this information here. We'll try to focus on the below logic here. Back to here, now what I'm doing is, so simply I'm making string age is equals to 9. This particular string age is equals to 9 I'm adding here. And after adding here, what I'm going to do, string s is equals to, so observe here, I'm trying to specify the concatenation information. So this is a one more string I'm creating here by specifying this particular age information between. So here if you observe how many strings we are having, so this is a one string, and here we are creating one more string, and here also we are creating one more string. So around we are having 3 strings here, but we are appending as a one object here. So that is called yes. So I'm going to print, this particular s. What we are going to expect here, whatever the line number 48 we are appended, the entire object we are going to get here. So now you can see he is a 9 years old. So where is the 9 is coming from? The 9 is coming from the above line. Getting the point. So this is the way we can append the particular string here. We can append the particular string. Again here we are creating new object here so that we can happily we can access this particular information, because so whenever we are trying to create a new object here, the new object is going to reside in the particular string pool. Getting the point. And after this, we are having different data types. How we can work with different data types? The same concatenation information it is. If we observe, instead of string, I am going to add into data type. So I am going to add into data type. Observe the same example I am going to run. So the same output we are getting here. So now what you understand here? Along with the string, we can add any other data types also. We can concatenate with any other data types also. So this is the way we can concat if we want to provide the output as some readable format. Getting the point. So this is all about the important here. But one more important I want to share here. And after this example here, so carefully observe, I want to create string. Here I am specifying 4 and so 2 plus 2. And here what we are going to get here, again we are trying to concatenate here. Again we are concatenating some object here. If I am going to print this particular sys out here, what is an output we are expecting here? So 4 plus 4 we are expecting. If you observe, so this is we are expecting output called 4 4. Getting the point. To see the same as if I am trying to print. So what we are getting here? We are getting 4, 22 we are getting here. But what we are expecting here? 4, 4. Getting the point. So this is, so whenever we are concatenating with other data types, so this is important here. Basically, first we need to do some additional operation here. And after that, we need to concatenate with a string object here. Getting the point. If we are doing like this, we are not going to get expected output here. We are not going to get expected output here. So carefully observe. To work on that, what we can do. To work on that, what we can do? we need to specify the brace here. So whenever you are specifying any brace here, so it's going to take high priority here. It's going to take high priority. If we observe the same example, so see here. So this is we are expecting, right? But how we this particular output how we got because of this particular braces here. If we match this particular braces, how many integer value we are going to add, those are going to not adding, not addition operations are not going to work. Simply they will append with the existing string. They will append with the existing. This is important here. And one more information I want to provide here. So we'll go for the string class. Inside this particular string class, we are having one method called toString method. We are having toString method. So we'll try to focus on the how exactly this particular toString method is returning. Let me check here this. Okay. So where this is implemented. Basically, what I want to explain here, whenever we are calling this particular method called toString, so we are going to provide the some output, some readable format here, or we can call it as a some understandable format here. So we'll try to check here how exactly we can work with this particular toString here. This example we already covered in the previous example, but let me see one more example here. To work on this, now what I will do, I will go for the box class. So this box class we already discussed in the last class. Only the difference here, simply I am going to add toString method. And the toString method is returning string object here and name of the method called toString. So how I am writing here, because it is returning some string return type. And here, so dimensions I want to add here something called and so carefully observe how I am trying to append with another value. And we are having width here. After width, so I'm going to add some byte. We are going to add depth here. The final one, height. So this is all about the appending the string information here. But carefully observe here between what we are doing here. So these are the double data types we are appending here. These are the double data types here. So whenever we are calling this toString method, this particular message we are going to get. This particular message we are going to get. And observe carefully. So here only we can call the particular main method. And so let me create this constructor. This constructor having how many parameters? 3 parameters. So something 10, 12, 14. And after calling this particular constructor, box is equal to new box. Simply I want to call box here. I'm not doing any other operations here. Simply I'm calling box object here. So just to print this the toString information, now you can observe here how it is working internally. Getting the point. So this is the way whatever the value we added using this particular constructor, we are getting or not here. So this is very important information how we can append this particular string along with other data type. In the real-time applications also, we are going to specify this toString information, right? And we'll see one more example on by creating another object here. Okay, back to here. this particular toString we are implemented here. We are having different methods here. So we'll try to check with a different method. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating 4 plus 4, 1 string object here. Later we are printing the same object here. And if we want to find the first character of this particular string, we want to find the first character of this particular string, what we can do? Caret. We are having one method called caret. We can specify the index information. So if we want to find the first character, I'm going to call the first here. So here the index is going to point to the second one, that is called O. That is called O we are getting. So this is the second character. Now basically I explain, whenever we are working with any array, internally the indexes are going to start from the 0 onwards. Same here also, whenever we are calling this particular caret, is going to convert all the objects into the character array. From the character array, each element is going to load it. You can observe that inside the 0 index, the F character is initialized here. So this is the way we can work with by calling this caret method. This particular caret method is very important here whenever we are working on some logical question. So we'll try to use more on this particular caret method. And another method, we are having toChar array. We are having toChar array. So if you observe carefully, s dot toChar array, and this particular toChar array is returning character array. So here we are going to get some of the character array here. So more than one character we are going to get. If I am going to print char array, so we'll see what are the values we are going to get here. So what are the values we are getting here? So something called 4:4. Getting the point. So this is we are adding as a string, and we are getting the same here. But if you want to work with for each style, you can see how we can work with each character here. Now the same sysout here, internally I will use, I'm making C here. Observe here. So we are getting one by one or not here. Each character we are getting here. So this is the one more beauty we are going to get whenever we are calling this particular toChar array. Getting the point. And after this, we are going to check with comparison. So here we are having equal and equal ignore case methods. So we'll see what is the difference between equals and equal ignore case method. Getting the point. Back to here. Now what I will do, here I'm going to create a one more class, something called string s1 is equals to hello, I'm creating it, and string s2 is equals to same hello I'm going to create here. And s3 is equals to so goodbye I'm creating here, and one more s4 is equals to hello. So see here we are having how many string object here? 4 string object we are having, and we'll try to check with each one using this particular sysout. Getting the point. And carefully observe, here I'm adding s1. Here I'm adding s1. s1 plus equals s2, and what I'm doing here, I'm trying to check with S1 dot equals of S2. S1 dot equals of S2. So this is, we are trying to provide some message, and this is going to check the object information, whether the two objects equal or not. Right. Now, after this particular arrow, I want to add some information. Let me make it so three another conditional information here, and another one here, S1 S3, S1 S3, and later, now what I am doing here, I will check with S1 S4. Getting the point. And same one, the last one also I'm going to use, but the difference here, instead of equals method, we will use equals ignore case. Equals ignore case. So this is one more method we are going to use, something called and these are about the 4 methods, but observe carefully, we are having equals method and equals ignore case. So how exactly these two methods are going to work, and which scenario we can go for the equals, and which scenario we can go for the equal ignore case. Let me run this example here. Observe carefully what we are getting here. Let me make here some space here so that we'll understand more. Now, so observe here. So this is one S1 object and this is a S2 object. Both are equals. So we are getting true. So whenever this particular equals method returns true, what we can identify? Whatever the object we are passing as a two objects here, both objects are equal here. Getting the point. So that's the reason we are getting true. And we check the S1 object and S3 object here. We can see these two objects are not equal here, because so S1 is a hello object and S3 is here we are having goodbye. So these two objects are different. That's the reason we are getting false. But you can see another one here, hello, and the S3 also we are getting hello only. But why we are getting the false here? Because of some of the letters are having capitals and some of the object letters are having small lower characters and upper characters here. Getting the point. So because of this, the equals method return false here. Even though both objects are same, but only the difference here, some uppercase and lowercase here. Getting the point. So in this case, what we can go for the equals ignore case. So what it will do? It will not check for the any case. Whether the objects are having the same characters or not is going to check, and each character is pointing to the S1 object with the S4 or not is going to check. Getting the point. In this case, it is returning true. So where in the which scenario we can go for this particular equals ignore case, and which scenario we can go for this particular equals method. So now you understand an idea. So which scenario we can go for it. Basically, the equals method is going to point to the same object. It's not going to check for the case sensitive here. If we are having the different case sensitive, it's going to return false here. So this is very important here, because in the real-time application, we are going to use more and more. Right. And back to here, one more information here, start with and end with here. If we want to find with any character or thing which is starting from the any letter here, we can go for here. But observe carefully, I'm going to use here the same. Simply, I want to start here. And do S2 dot start with. S2 dot start with. Here, what we can specify here? Something called HCE. This particular object, which object here? The S2 object, if it is starting with these two characters, what we can do? This particular start with method is going to return true. This particular method is returning true. And if it is not starting this particular character, is going to return false here. So we'll see how exactly it's going to work here. You can see the last true which is returning from because of the start with method. And if I'm going to add here something called 1, 2, 3, something called 1, 2, 3 here. Let's see the same example I'm going to run. We are getting false here. Getting the point. So this is the start with method behavior here. Whenever we want to check any condition based on this, whether this particular object is starting with some of the character or not, we can go for this particular start. Same way, we are having one more method, something called end with. The same object is trying to end with this particular characters or not. We can check here. We can check here. Getting the point. Now, what I can specify is initially, we can specify LO. First, we'll check whether this particular end with method returning true or false. So it's returning true. Getting the point. Now, if I'm going to pass 1, 2, 3, we will observe the same object here. It's returning false. Getting the point. How exactly the start with and end with working internally. So this is all about the one important information. And now, one more, I want to specify the information, something called equals method as well as double equal operator. So double equals is an operator, equals is a method here. So carefully observe here. Now this particular SO I want to create using object reference here. So something called getting the point. Now how we can work with equals, because we already identified the equals method. What exactly it's going to check here? It's going to check the object information. And if I want to, let me again, we are going to get case related issues. Now again I'm going to add here sysout here. The sysout here, okay. So let me make one more object here. Okay, we can go for this one. S1 dot equals S4. So carefully observe here. S1 object, how we are creating it? Using string literal, and the S4 object we are creating with the constructor here. But make sure this particular line number 71 sysout, what is the value we are going to get? We'll see, because objects are having same, but the creating an object, it is different here. Now you can see the last one which is returning true. What you understanding is the equals method is going to check for the object comparison. Whatever the object we are having in the both cases, in that case S1 object as well as S4 object, the both objects are same, this particular method will return true. And the same thing you can observe using this particular double equal to operator. Double equal to operator here. And S1 equals to S4. S1 equals to S4. So now you can see the last one, it's returning false. Why it is returning false? Because basically the double equal to operator is going to check for the references where this particular objects are resides. Getting the point? Now the equals method is comparing objects. So getting the point. So this is very important here. But basically, whenever we are creating using this particular literal and constructor, each object will have a unique reference. Each object will have a unique reference here. So now, if I am going to create one more here, S5. Still we are getting false. Getting the point. So just I want to specify here, when even though we are creating the same constructor, the object will have a unique references here. So that's the reason every time is returning false here. Getting the point. So this is very important here. In the which scenario we can go for the object references and which scenario we can go for the comparing an actual object here. So that is because of this equals method and double equals operators. And one more here we are having comparative method. So we are having comparative method. So this particular comparative method is coming from the object class here. We'll see how exactly this particular comparative method will work here. Now back to here, let me comment all this particular example here. So basically what I want to do here, I'm creating something called one string array. Here what I'm going to do, we'll try to add some values here. Some values here, something called so 3, 4 and up to 5 we are going to add. Okay, so now what I am doing here, I am trying to create a one string array here. So carefully observe, this is a string array and in the previous example we created character array. So this is indicating character array. So see the difference here, how we are creating character array and back to here we are creating byte array. Cutting the point. So this is the way we are going to create a different data types arrays here and come back to here. After creating this particular example, now what I am going to do, I am going to check for the compare method here. So to check for the compare method, what we can do, something called into I is equals to 0, I less than AR dot length. And observe here, this is a variable, and in the previous example we have identified the having length method somewhere here. This is the length method. So this is very important here. In the which scenario we are going to get an length method, in the which scenario we are going to get an length variable, right? And one more I want to create here something called into j is equals to I plus 1. Into j is equals to I plus 1, and later and j less than what I am going to do, ARR dot length. So whenever we are specifying I plus 1, what happens here? Every time is going to point to the next index here, the second index compared to the first loop. So the second loop is going to point to the second index of the particular given array. Getting the point. Now observe here, we are having two loops here, And internally, what I'm doing here, ARR, this particular I dot compare to, now the same ARR reference I'm going to use something called J. And if you observe, this particular comparative method is going to return integer value. Getting the point? So which type of integer value is going to return? Whenever, so if I'm trying to specify greater than 0, what happens is we are going to get positive values. Getting the point? And whenever I'm trying to specify less than 0, we are going to get some of the negative values. And whenever I'm specifying here equals to 0, we are going to get this particular objects are equal. Getting the point? So these two objects are equal. So whenever these two objects are equal, we are going to get 0. And whenever we are getting greater than 0, this object is compared to, this object is a greater than to this particular object here. Getting the point? So this is the way we are going to compare the two objects here. We are going to compare the two objects here. And let me check for the less than 0. And after this, what I am going to do, we are going to get one object here, something called st is equals to ARR J. What happened here? We are getting this. Okay. Now observe, we are getting like whatever the inside this particular array, based on this particular index location, what I am doing is I am trying to load one object here that is called st. After loading this, what I am going to do, again I am going to change to the different object here. Carefully observe here ARRJ. Here inside this particular ARRJ, whatever the object we are getting from the ARRI. So whatever the object we are getting from the ARRI, I am passing into the ARRJ. So it's nothing but we are trying to change the location of the object here. So we are trying to change the location here. Finally, this particular ARRI, what I am doing just is equals to st. Is equals to st. And after this, what we can do here, we'll try to print this information here with condition. The second loop here. After this, we are going to work with the ARRJ. Hi. Let me run this particular example here. So what kind of the object we are going to get? Less than. So now you can see all we are getting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All we are getting as a less than 0. So if I'm going to check for this particular object as a greater than, now we'll see what are the object information we are going to get. So same we are getting here. The same we are getting here, but only the difference here. So it's going to check which object is high priority and which object is low priority. So that is going to check here. And to understand more, now what I will do, I will put a breakpoint here. Right. Now let me run the same example in the debug mode. We'll see how exactly these values are fitting here. So let me change the different perspective. Now we can focus on the left side variable section here. Observe here, I value 0, j value 1. Because what we are doing here, we are trying to append with the one value here. Getting the point. And you can see inside this particular ARR, what are the values we are having. So you can able to see. So these are the indexes information and these are the actual values. Getting the point. Now I'm going to check here. Up to this compared to method, what is written in here. So what is the value we are getting here? -5. -5, if I'm going to run this particular if condition, we are getting false here. So whenever we are getting the false, what happens here? Actually, you can observe ARRJ. Inside this particular ARRJ, what is the value we are getting? The second object here, that is called 2. Now, you can see inside this particular ARRI, the first object we are going to get. So because of loading this particular, the first and second object here, now what we are doing is, we are making I plus 1. We are making I plus 1. This is very important. After, like compare here, the first object and the second object, it's not satisfied here. So we'll see, it's going back to the J loop here. Now it's coming. Now you can check here, the J value is changed. Still I value 0. So now we are comparing 1 with 3. So we'll see, again false. So J values increase here. The J values increase. 3 here we are getting. So 3 is nothing but 4. Now we will check here, this particular compared to is returning true here. Whenever it is returning true, what happens? Internally we are going. So now you can check here, this particular ARRJ, what is the value we are having? Something called 4. Now what we are doing here, we are making into ST. So you can observe one more object we are able to see something called ST here. Right. And after this, what I am doing here. So this line is very important here. Carefully observe here. The 4 is going to change with 1 here. The 4, whatever the 4 we are having in this particular location is going to change with 1. So carefully observe here. 1. Previously we are having here 4. Now it is changed with 1. Getting the point. Now this is very important here. This line also very important. This particular index number 0 is going to change with 4 here. So this is the way we are trying to change the location of the object here. Now you can observe here. Here we are getting 4. Here we are getting 4. Initially we are having 1, but now see, the 1 we change here, now we are getting the 4 here. So this is the way we can change the location of the object is. Now J value 4. So still it is finding the condition is satisfying. Again we are changing here. And the length is missed here. So because of this, what you are understanding here? So 5 and 2. So this is the way the location of the objects are changing here. Location of the objects are changing here. So this is all about the comparative method, how it is working internally. The remaining method, so we are going to discuss on our Monday class. So any questions regarding our today class, like what are the methods we discussed as of now? Okay. So if we don't have any questions, we'll continue on Monday, the remaining methods.